So Campagna Academy is also known as Who's Yours Boys Town, and when we started accepting girls, we actually changed the name. We do accept girls in our private secure program. So we have about 24 young ladies that live here and receive treatment here, and that is the only program right now that we have for boys and girls here on campus. We work with girls in our day treatment program as well as in foster care. So what's really neat and unique about Campagna is that we actually offer that full continuum of care. We provide a very structured, very intense treatment in our private secure program. We have 24-hour, 7-day nursing available for our children. They're actually in the milieu. And we have therapists, we have doctors, we have a child and adolescent psychiatrist as our medical director, and we work as a professional team assigned to that child. And our children here are between 6 to 9 months, and then they transition to a lower level of care within our campus. So what's really nice about that continuum is that the child gets healthy, they meet the goals that they need to meet, they're doing well, they transition to a lower level of care, and there the focus is more independent living. The children there are getting jobs. The children many go off to school in Lake Central schools off campus. So our kids there are getting a very different experience, and we really are preparing our kids from day one to go back to their community, go back home, whether it's their biological home or whether that is an adoptive or foster home. So right now in our private secure residential, we work with up to 48 youth, 24 boys, 24 girls. And our day treatment program, we have anywhere between 15 and 20 young men and women that attend that program. The children that we work with are victims of severe trauma, sexual abuse, verbal abuse. We work with children with mental illnesses, substance abuse disorders. So we are prepared here with the type of clinical staff and our nursing and medical staff. We put together a professional team that surrounds that child with the special services that they each need. We actually have over 100 youth that live here on campus, because we haven't talked about our IDD program, which it's our North Lake program. It's a private residential program that...
IDD?
Right. It's a residential program that works with kids with disabilities, intellectual and learning disabilities. It's our North Lake program. It's one of our newest residential treatment programs here on campus. And we're the only residential program that's certified in the area that actually is able to treat youth with the same type of mental illness, same type of trauma and abuse. But the difference is that these youth actually have a disability. So we actually employ our behavior therapists. We employ very trained individuals that work here with that population. So at any given time, we can have over 100 youth that actually live here on campus. But what's really neat about when we talk about Campagna being a residential treatment provider is that we offer that continuum. So we actually have the private secure residential, which is the most intensive, the most restrictive, where the child is here between 6 to 9 months. Then we have the open residential program. We have cottages here on campus. The focus there is more independent living. And then we have our North Lake program, which is also a residential program. But the population that we treat there are kids with disabilities, young men between the ages of 10 all the way up to 21 that have an intellectual learning disability. The community, first of all, has been an incredible support to us. We really wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for our community. We actually have over 300 volunteers who are here committed day in and day out, and they serve many different roles. So if our community, if our neighbors want to know how can we help, and they don't have the means financially to do so, we actually have a wonderful individual who's actually dedicated to recruit and train our volunteers. We have tutors, we have individuals that shop for us on a daily basis or weekly basis. We have children, individuals that work with our children as mentors, and you name it. I mean, there's so many different opportunities. You can become a foster parent, and if you're not quite convinced about being a foster parent, call us. And there's so many different opportunities that we can offer you where you can still have the ability to work with children in foster care, even a respite parent that gives you a feel of what it's like to be a foster parent, work with children in the foster care system, and decide if it's for you. And of course, we always need financial support. We are an aging campus. So of course, we're celebrating 70 years. And when we say that, we have cottages around us, including this building that's just as old. And we rely heavily on the donations and support from our community. And this event that's coming up is our main fundraising event. And 100% of the proceeds that come from these events go directly to our children, to improving the services. In fact, we actually a few years ago started to raise funds for a foster care camp. We started this camp when I joined Campagna, so it's been about 8 years now, and we have a wonderful campus. I don't know if you had a chance yet to see it, 47 acres, and my goal was always to open this campus, not just for our neighbors in our community, but for children. And this camp allows foster youth to spend 2 weeks here. We actually pick them up in the morning, drop them off at the end of the day, but that camp is solely funded right now through what we raise from these events. And it's been a wonderful opportunity for our kids to get exposed to, Chicago. They attend the symphony. Older youth actually visit college campuses, and they look at many different opportunities that are out there when they do age out of the system. We want our kids to be successful and be independent. And it's a wonderful time here on campus because this is when you see 4 or 5-year-old little children running around campus. We also have paddle boats, and thanks to the Crown Point Community Foundation, we're able to invest in those kind of things. We have tents. So you see our campus in a completely different light those 2 weeks. And so our community sees that, yes, these are children that have had a very rough life, but they are children, and these are children that need their support. These are children that grow with the stigma of being in foster care or being in multiple residential facilities. But take a time to get to know our kids. Take a moment to see their faces, and you'll realize that they're children just like any child. And our goal is always for these children to grow up in communities, grow up in homes and families with families. Residential care is not a place for children to grow. But when they're here, this is their home, and we have wonderful individuals that are dedicated to making sure that they're safe, that they're getting the treatment and education that they need.